folks, J Larkin here. I'm recording easily the earliest I ever have thus far on the show. It's only about 11:30 p.m. Yesterday I stayed up until almost 7 in the morning working straight through, which made me feel, to be honest, like a boss. I got a lot done. And then somebody knocked on my door around 10:30 and said, "Hey, do you want to come watch this thing with us?" So I think I responded. I was still kind of in coma state at that point. But I did end up getting up earlier than somebody who, just stayed awake for almost 40 hours, probably should, for, their own mental health. So tonight I'm calling it an early night. I'm gonna try and lay my head on the pillow before midnight, which makes me feel kind of lazy, to be perfectly honest. But, like I said, got a lot done the night before. And I'll just have to keep going from there. Tomorrow is my my Island Friday, as I call it, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who called it that, which means I work one day, I had the day before off, and the next day off, and the day after that off. Excuse me, so another weekend coming up, and I'll get right back at it and get a lot done then. So, huzzah, getting stuff done. After that little slump I had for a few days, right after I decided to add almost 8 chapters to the book, it is nice feeling like I'm, catching up on that slack a little bit. November is still the month when I'll be handing out beta copies, if anybody's interested. I can't say exactly when in November. I prefer it to be earlier November. It might end up being mid-November. We'll see. Yeah. Also, got a lot of work done on these things. In case you can't tell, they're supposed to be hats. These are ones I actually have made. Maybe you can tell, maybe you can't. Hopefully you can't. But they are, in fact, pudding cups and foam that was bought at the dollar store and fabric. And a lot of glue. Lots of glue. That's the most important part. I think they've turned out pretty cute. I'm kind of getting the hang of it. Strangely, the ones that are made from pudding cups and dollar store foam look less cheap than when I take the actual mini top hats I bought and just slap fabric on them. So, lesson learned. Maybe someday I'll put up a video about how I actually make these, because when I first decided I was going to do this for gifts, tried to find some tutorials. There were some good ones and some that I was like, but I don't know what that thing is. You're talking about millinery, and I just want to take a pudding cup and make a hat out of it. Millinery is a fabulous art, by the way. Mad props to people who do it. I'm a huge hat fan, in case you couldn't guess. I have somewhere around 30-something hats. And I love them all. But I do have my favorites. Anyway, I've been kind of thinking lately about... I've been thinking about it, and now I forgot the word. Platforming, that's what it is. Yeah, there have been a lot of posts up in the agents and editors and writer blogs that I creepily stalk without ever commenting on about platforming. For those of you who don't know, maybe I'll put up a little ticker definition. Platforming is the art of trying to con a bunch of people into promising, without actually saying the words, that they will buy your book if it ever does get published. This is so publishers can look at you and be like, "Oh, they already have legions of fans. This is great. We want to throw money at them and print their book." Or ebook or whatever. This is not easy to do, because, as I mentioned in my very first vlog, not many people want to look into what an author without credentials has done, or a writer, or anyone. Any Joe Schmo from yuckity yuck grocery store clerk can slam a bunch of words out onto a bunch of pages and say, "Oh, I wrote a novel." Who wants to read that? Nobody. But if, yeah, I could get into it, but, so, the point is, it's a tricky thing, trying to get people behind you to read and, support without actually reading the book, because you don't want to give them the book to read, because then they have no reason to buy it, when it is in fact printed. And if your book gets printed and then does not sell, that's the end of your book selling career. The air quotes were for selling, not career. So, yeah. Part of the vlog thing is, like I said way back in episode 1, Meet J Larkin, I'm really fascinated by the process of going from Joe Schmo to Joe Schmo with a successful whatever career. It's not something you get to see a whole lot of, for that very reason of nobody wants to watch some no-name nobody talking about what it is they want to do, as a general rule. That's part of the reason that Twitter is so successful, because there's millions and billions of people who don't actually do anything that think that they have thoughts worth thinking publicly. I have a Twitter account. So, yeah. So, that was part of why I started the blog, because I want to record that process for myself and in case anybody else wants to watch in the future. And also as some watery means of platforming. Maybe somebody will watch this and be like, hey, that person knows how to string together a proper sentence, and they speak so grammatically correct, punctuation in all the right places! Exclamation point. But I'm aware, also, as I've said, there are tons of people just like me out there who say, hi, I'm insert author name number 235,064, and I'm writing a novel, and it's blah blah blah. Who cares? Until you actually succeed, nobody cares. I also have my blog as a means of, a means which makes more sense as far as a writer's platform, because I am in fact actually writing on the blog. Here I'm just talking. Though you did see that clip of my writing. I've thought about starting up a Facebook page, but that would just seem kind of weird. I talk about my stuff on Facebook. Who's gonna follow a page? Hey, this person might get a book published someday. I wouldn't even know what to do with it. But so, yeah, I guess what I'm saying is I'm aware that platforming is a good idea. It is considered one of the key things that differentiates an author and an author who sells a lot of books. And obviously I'd like to be one of the latter, because I want to quit my day job, fun though it is. So yeah, anybody have any good ideas for platforming? I've got the vlog thing going, I've got the blog thing going, I talk about it all over the place. Part of the problem is I'm not a super social creature. I mean, I'll show up and talk to people if I absolutely have to, but I'm the person who will throw a snark into the room if it's applicable and won't talk otherwise. Because, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of chit-chat. You can only say so many words without actually saying anything before I get annoyed and leave the room. Because that's the kind of people person I am. So, yeah, that's all I have to say for tonight, I think. Blah, 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 blah. That's all I got. It's really weird to me that I'm not doing this at 2 or 3 in the morning. Is it weird for you?